A Missouri school is considering a segregated space for white students to talk about racism and white privilege.
I was born in a white America, 85 to 90% white, before they killed Kennedy. And you people want to sit here and lecture me and my people about race.
Group members explore the history and construction of white racial identity, the manifestations of white supremacy and privilege, white solidarity, all of this. I mean, good grief.
I am white, but I can guarantee you that I have not had privilege in my life.
The chief diversity officer at St. Louis's Webster University says the Witnessing Whiteness program requires all participants to be white.
Unbelievable. And this crap is going to be taught in a college or university.
Way to divide people. Really?
This program is going to be divisive and bad for the students, bad for the university, and bad for our society.
White people would not be as forthcoming if they were in a mixed group, you know, about their racism and how much they dislike people of color, I guess.
My friend, St. Louis does not have a problem with crime because of white people or the Amish or anybody else. I don't think you need to educate white people on their whiteness. I think the black community needs to take care of the inherent problem that they have.
The diversity officer says the ultimate motivation is for white people to find their voice and be able to speak to, call out, and stand up against racism.
I don't see you trying to make black people feel guilty. White men died to free black men in this country. The worst thing that you want is a quiet white man. Knock this shit off.
My motivation for joining the Witnessing Whiteness program was because I want to be a part of living and working in communities that are intentionally working towards racial equity.
I wanted to be a better ally or learn to have tools that would help me with the racial situation, not only here in St. Louis, but across our country. And I didn't feel like I had tools other than being angry that I couldn't fix it.
I work in student affairs, so I wanted to make sure that I was there and understanding of all the needs our students have. As a white person in America today, you don't necessarily understand the full history of what black people have gone through in this country and why. Witnessing Whiteness opens your eyes to that, and it makes you really understand the full historical significance of the laws that are passed and just the institutional racism across the country.
I wanted to go through this experience with other educators that are facing the same problems. How do we create an experience on campus, in the classroom, and in support services where students will feel comfortable.
It's incumbent upon leaders and people in leadership positions to proactively and forcefully come out and do something that's going to better their citizens. And that requires anti-bias, anti-racist training, especially in a community like Webster Groves, where more than 90% of our residents are white.
I think the number one thing I learned from Witnessing Whiteness was to really pick on white privilege, and to be able to call it out in myself, and to be able to call it out in my family, to be able to call it out in my friends and my colleagues.
I need to be more vocal, especially in groups where everybody looks like me and there's not somebody at the table who doesn't look like me. I need to say something. I need to try to be a better advocate.
The culture and the media, you're raised to have a little bit of racism in you when it comes to people of color, of black people, because I catch myself still doing it today, and I stop. And because of Witnessing Whiteness, I stop myself, and I'm like, what are you doing, Billy? You know better than this.
I was good at giving space to conversations around race, but I realized that maybe I wasn't as good at giving the space for those conversations when people's positions or thoughts didn't perfectly align with mine.
My biggest takeaway, that this was worth the 10 weeks and I wish it would have been longer.
That I'm not alone in how I feel, in how I want to work to make this country better, to make St. Louis better.
And that it was kind of surprising to find that the people around me had the same questions.
How do we translate discussion into action to address this very significant problem in our society?
What I'm doing differently today is trying to sit in conversations about race with people in my life, whether they be close to me or maybe just that I engage with in the workplace.
I teach an Intro to Philosophy course, and in that course I have changed it radically since the last time I did it, and I'm incorporating a section on justice, and in particular the justice of reparation.
I need so much more, and I need to do so much more in order to understand other perspectives and understand other races and other cultures, in order to ensure that they are included and provided for from a governmental and leadership perspective.
Sometimes people really need to think about why they think things or why they say things and why they act the way they do towards people who just don't mirror their image. And I'm glad I did it.